pages, let's talk a little bit about Kohelet, King Solomon's wisdom in Ecclesiastes or something, however you say it in English. Okay, it's Kohelet. And again, I recommend La'ez for everything. We need to start learning the Torah. Why? Because we need to start understanding reality so that we can choose to interact with the events of our reality in a way that is beneficial for us. Meaning we want to choose the way of peace, okay, and not the way of war. And this is how we do this, says King Solomon. He says anyway that there is a time for everything, okay? So he says that there's a time for everything. To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under the heaven, okay? And we know from the Torah that reality is 5-dimensional. 3 dimensions are physical, 1 dimension is spiritual, okay, and 1 is time, okay? So now we're going to be talking a little bit about this dimension of the universe according to King Solomon, who had godly wisdom, okay? So he says there's 28 times. We're going to read this in a second here. And basically they say here that man has free choice, okay? And if we're willing, okay, so when a man wants to improve his way, the opportune occasion is set, and he wants the contrary, he finds an evil hour beckoning. Thus the Zohar writes, he has made everything beautiful in its time. There is individual supervision for each thing in the world, both for good and for evil. When a man wants to walk to the right, okay, if a man wants to walk to the right, his path is righteous, and he is helped. And he is also helped when he wants to walk to the left. And says here, accordingly, the 28 times listed, so there's 28 times, are listed in Kohelet, are divided evenly between right and left. If a man is deserving, arranged for him are 14 auspicious occasions, and if undeserving, 14 to the contrary. Okay, and here we see that he lists these. So again, there's a right side, which is mercy, and a left side, which is judgment. And it's, so for example, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot the planted, time to kill and a time to heal, etc., etc., etc. And the last, he says, is a time for war and a time for peace. And he explains here a little bit later that war and peace are at the end of the list because literally everything you will choose before then will lead ultimately either to war or ultimately to peace, depending on what you choose with your free will. You choose that way, you will be led in that direction. You choose the righteous way, right? You choose the way of mercy, your path will lead you to peace. And we know from the Torah that all the paths of the Torah lead to peace. And we know, like we said, there's a time to there is a time to be born and a time to die. And we know that all who are clinging to the Torah are alive. The Torah is life. Etz HaChaim, the tree of life. So all who are clinging to the Torah are alive. Otherwise, so you have to choose that. You have to choose to learn Torah, because then you will be living and moving towards, in the path of life, towards peace. You are now choosing the right side. You are choosing mercy. Okay, so when you look around in your reality and you don't see the mercy, you see the randomness. You see just injustice. You see a war. Okay, you know that we are going to the left. You are choosing to the left because all of the nation of Israel acts as one. We're individual, so we choose for ourselves our path, but collectively as a nation, we have to choose the path of life in the Torah. We have to all choose to keep Shabbat, to keep the Torah. All of us. We can't just be some Jews that keep Shabbat and some Jews don't. Or some Jews keep Shabbat in the way they want to keep it, not in the way that the Torah commands us to keep it, the way that God told us to make it or to keep it. Okay? So there's always a choice. And when Adam HaRishon, the first man, when he was created, God told him everything in the Garden of Eden, every tree is you can eat from. Okay, it's nice to look at and you can eat from it. There's just one tree you cannot look at, which is the tree of good and evil mixed. Okay, and the concept here was that God told Adam to do one thing he told him to do one thing. Don't eat, or told him not to do one thing, let's just say. Don't eat from one specific tree. And he, so to speak, turned his head away from listening to God and listened to something else. Okay, an evil energy that wants to go to war, wants that the world is chaotic. That's this. Wants war, wants chaos, wants famine, wants suffering, wants slavery, wants all the terrible things, injustice, wants inequality, wants all that stuff, strife, okay? And not the creative, loving God who wants peace. And especially for the nation of Israel. So when we look into our reality today, we see there's a time for peace and a time for war. It looks like it's time for war, guys. So I guess that means we're choosing that, because we're not choosing what's in the Torah. Can you understand that it's this way or that way? We have to make choices, and we have to know what choice is the right choice to make. And we can only know that from learning the Torah. And so, for example, we're going to look at a few examples from our reality today. The year 5784. So, two things, okay. So we look at the war in Israel after October 7th, okay. It's been going on for 7 months now, okay. We see the war in Israel with the IDF. Okay, which is not Israel, the state of Israel, is not keeping Torah laws. Okay, and so there's all sorts of consequences for that are written in the Torah that say if you don't keep the Torah, meaning if you choose this random path of justice, meaning what you do is what you get here. Okay, it's dog eat dog world, it's competition, it's survival of the fittest, it's according to astrology, basically your luck. If you choose this way, that's what you get. You're on your own. You make your own destiny. Okay, but if you keep the Torah, we know the whole story of the Torah. Our destiny is before us. Our destiny is laid out for us, that there will be a third temple. There will be a Mashiach. The return of the kingdom of David in the land of Israel. Not randomly. Specifically, if we keep the Torah, if we are the holy nation of Israel that keeps the Torah and keeps its laws, we will get the kingdom of David. We will build the third temple, or the third temple will be built for us, and we will have peace. And we will have peace on earth. Shalom. Shalem. That day everything will be perfect and everything will be whole. Okay? Hashem echad v'shmo echad. It will be one unity, whole, shalem. And we will have chosen peace. Okay, so if right now we're at war, the state of Israel is at war, and you think the nation of Israel is at war, what I'm saying is the reason the Haredim, okay, the religious Jews that everyone wants, that the state of Israel wants to draft into the army now, okay, to go fight this war. They want them to choose war. But really, Haredi just means people who fear God. Fear God. Which is, again, what Kohelet tells us is the whole purpose of your life is to acquire a fear of God. So Haredi means somebody who fears God. So somebody who fears God is not going to choose this path. That somebody who fears God and loves God, perhaps, is going to choose life, to choose peace, to choose the Torah. And by the merit of these people choosing that, there is some sort of, shmirah, some sort of protection over the nation of Israel. Now, if nobody is learning Torah, we know that everything would devolve into complete chaos. That's what's written in the Torah. That's why it's important people learn Torah. That's why the nation of Israel was commanded to learn the Torah at all times and choose life and choose peace. Even when this war was declared, the objective of this war, I have never heard that objective of the war, starting from October 7th, is peace. And I'm not going to go into all of October. We have a right to defend ourselves. And what are we supposed to do? Just let them attack us? No, of course not. But why were they able to attack us for 8 hours with no reaction? Okay, so there's a lot of questions. So one of the questions is not, for me anyway, are we allowed to protect ourselves? Who attacked who? Okay, that's for me not a relevant question anymore, because it shouldn't have happened in the year 5784, which is 2024, in the startup nation, in the most technologically advanced military, in a world where, I mean, right next door, with not even really an army, and 7 months later, okay, they're still dropping rockets on us in those exact same places. So let's not get confused. I mean, you can go and watch some of my other videos that explain how the Zionist... I need to get new markers. So you can go and watch some of my other videos where I explain that the Zionist state of Israel is one of the 19 centers, okay, of the WEF, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, okay, which is part of Agenda 2030, okay? And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's not good. You need to know these things. You need to go look up the WEF. You need to go look up the Fourth Industrial Revolution. You need to go look up who are those 19 centers. You need to understand that the state of Israel is one of those 19 centers. What does that mean? It means that the state of Israel is actually part of the New World Order. New World Order. Okay, so when you hear conspiracy theorists blame the Jews for everything, they're not right, but they're not completely wrong, because they don't understand the Torah, I guess. Okay, so there's the nation of Israel, the holy nation of Israel, where we know their story. The story of the holy nation of Israel is in the Torah. That's why we learn it, because we know that at the end of this dimension of our universe, the end of time, which we also know is only going up to 6,000, so we know if we're at 5,784, we're at the end. And we know that sometime at the end of time, because there is an end time, and that end time is around 6,000, that this nation is getting redeemed. And this reality is going to end. Okay, so the end of the world. So, yes, so as I was saying, that people who fear God will choose life, will choose peace. Okay, will walk to the right. People who are confused will continue to choose the left side and to go down further and further into chaos, further and further into slavery, further and further into the New World Order, of which we can see again that the state of Israel is one of the 19 centers for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is part of the New World Order. Clearly left, okay? We need to always choose right, the opposite, okay? So, yeah, so that's one example. Another example, as I saw recently, somebody associated with the hostage, bring them home type stuff. And she was saying that everybody, goyim, no matter what faith you have, it would be great if you could pray for the return of the hostages in however way you feel that is effective and, very loving, very loving. However, that's not what's in the Torah. The Torah tells us, the nation of Israel, we have only one God. We cannot even recognize the fact that there are other people recognizing other energies and calling them gods. We have one God, and that's it. And we don't believe in anything, and we don't think that it's even legitimate. So sorry if you think that that doesn't sound nice, but if we know the truth, how can we even give any legitimacy to a lie? It's like, it would be like you saying now, you need to confirm that everybody can identify whatever gender or whatever concept of gender or whatever concept of individuality that they decide in their heads to be. You need to confirm that that is now the truth. Okay? So you can't, so that's another thing. So we always have to know what's in the Torah in order to always choose that path. So when things become unclear to us in our reality, we'll know what path to take. Should we get a vaccine? Or should we wait and see, like it says in the Torah? Okay, but what happened to all our dat Torah? What happened to our Gedolei Ador? What happened to our rabbis? Aren't we supposed to listen to what they say? Don't they know the Torah the best? Well, there's a problem here at the end of time, guys, because we're told at the end of time, the Erev Rav is going to be the leaders of the nation of Israel, and there's 5 groups, and one of those groups is the rabbis. So yeah, we need to know who we can listen to, whose dat Torah we can listen to. So therefore, we also need to know a little bit of Torah, so we can know a little bit of how to evaluate our reality. We can't just completely rely on one person and that's it, like some Hasidim do. That's not appropriate for the times, which are the end times, which we know the Erev Rav are in charge of the nation of Israel, are the leaders, and one of the groups of the leaders, which there are 5 of, are the rabbis. So we know this. Let's look at our timeline, because our whole story is written here for us. The beginning of time, the middle of time, the end of time. And we are right here, 5,784. Purim was about here, the halfway mark, where we also got, like, just after Purim, the second temple. Okay, so we had a first temple somewhere, first temple, second temple, and we know we're going to have a third temple. Okay, so our story is moving along the timeline in the time of this reality which was given to us, and we're going towards the redemption. That's what's going to happen at the end of time. That's the end of our story, nation of Israel. So you need, really, if you're a Jew, you need to start looking and reading and learning the Torah and choosing the path of peace. You want peace? Choose peace. What does that mean? It's all the little other choices that you make that will lead to peace. So, practically speaking, the Torah tells you specifically, Jew, to keep Shabbat. Choose peace. The Torah tells you to keep kosher. Choose peace. The Torah tells you to give charity, which, by the way, you're only going to be able to do if you even keep Shabbat, because otherwise no one can take your money, because it's not blessed. Okay? You need to separate yourselves. You can't be choosing to be like a goy, the 70 nations. Just in case there's any goyim listening to me, even though this channel is from me to Jew. Goy just means nation. Okay, it's not a derogatory word. Goy means nation. We are a goy kadosh. Kadosh means holy. We're a holy nation, the holy nation of Israel. Everybody else, the rest of the 70 nations, are just nations. Goy. Goy kadosh, goy. Okay, so now if there's people from the goy kadosh, the Jews, choose to act like a goy, you are choosing a random life full of random events, random sicknesses, random acts of violence, random heartbreaks, random losses, random whatever. Okay? or good things, random good things, whatever, which aren't always good because we don't know how to read reality, okay, properly. So we have to choose to separate. We're even told in the Torah, don't go in their fashions, don't go in their ways. So now we're at war in the year 2024, okay, 5,784, which we said is the end of time. We're at war. We're a nation at war. And what are some people very concerned about? Very concerned about Eurovision. Eurovision. Why? Should we even be doing that? I mean, what's going to wake you up to the fact that you need to call out to God to get back in His ways, especially if you live in the land of Israel? Because we're also told in the Torah that if you don't keep the Torah in the land of Israel, because it's a holy land, will spit you out. Because we need not an Arab state of Israel, which is one of the 19 centers for the West's fourth industrial revolution, which is part of Agenda 2030, which is part of the New World Order. What we need is the kingdom of David. We want the Mashiach. We want the temple. We want peace.